Hello everybody, I am Judy and you are visiting Vintage to Chic. Today I found this little canister at the thrift store, and it's a big one, not a little one, but I found this canister at the thrift store, and it was just a green, kind of a green tinted color, and I painted it with one coat of white, put one coat of white paint on it, and I put it all over it. And I made me some molds. I used using clay. I used Jovi clay. I made a mold of a floor, which I put on the front here. Have to put the molds on there and let them dry for a period of time. Then I made me two different trim molds. One I put up here, and another one I put down here and trimmed around the bottom. And the same trim I put down here around the bottom, I trimmed and put here. So those are done with clay. I put those on with clay. So I'm going to paint it. Today I'm going to paint this one with metallics. Metallics are a really good thing that I like. And I'm partial to the dark colors. The dark colors and the metallics, I'm partial to them. But metallics are hard to just use out of the bottle and get a good coverage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my metallics with some black. And right now I'm partial to the blue. You know, like I said, I like the dark shades. And I love this teal. This is Deco Arts Metallics, Dazzling Metallics, and it's called Teal. I just mix. I never get the same color two times. So people say, what'd you put on that? After I've done 4 or 5 pieces and down the road and somebody says, what did you put on that one? I really can't tell you, because sometimes I mix 2 or 3 metallics together. Then I put some black in them so they're not so transparent. That black helps to get your coverage and gives you a real pretty finish. Then I'm going to use some waxes and stuff on it after I do that. So what I'm going to do is take some of this teal and I'm going to put it out on my palette over here. I'm going to try to mix enough to what I think will do me. I'll probably have to put 2 coats on it, so I'm going to try to mix enough. I'm going to put the teal out there. Then I'm going to add a little bit of black over here beside it on my palette. I'll show you here what I'm doing. Put a little black over here. I don't want to squirt that black right down in that metallic, because I want to mix it gradually so that I get a color I like. Then I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm just going to add that black to that teal metallic. This black will make the paint opaque so that so it won't be so transparent. You can get it to cover a whole lot better. I still want it to be on the blue side, but I'm going to just add the black a little bit at a time till I achieve a color that I think I want to use. Then I'll try it and see what we get with it. Okay, this one, I love this teal blue. You take any color of the metallics. If I wanted it to be teal blue, wanted this to be teal metallic, I would use a teal blue regular paint first and put it on the jar all over, and then I'd go back and put a coat of the metallic on there, and that would give me a true teal color in the metallic. Okay. If you're mixing, if you mix before you use all this, before you use it up, then you can pretty well get the same color again or close to it. Okay, so I'm going to start right down here on the bottom, and I'm going to cover everything with this metallic color. Now see, I like that. Okay, I'm taking a wide flat brush and I'm just going to go all over my piece here, working it down in that clay, covering all the little spots in the clay around through there. You could use any of the colors of metallics, pardon me. You can add black to any of those colors, or you can add other colors to them, regular colors of paint. Just get you a palette, sit down with a palette or your paper, whatever you're putting your paint on, and play with your metallics until you mix some colors together and just get something that you like. It's amazing how many different colors you can create using the metallics and a few other colors to go with them. But I'm covering everything around here. Just going to work my way up the jar. Might help if I put my glasses on. Just kind of have to dib and dab it till you get all down in those holes around that base. I always put a coat of white on my clay after I've put it on there on the clay so that it kind of seals it in. Okay, now I'm going to work my way right up through here. Got to really work hard to get in all around this little piece here that's on here. Sometimes I put these pieces, I think this one was resin. Sometimes I do them in resin and glue them on, and sometimes I do them in clay. So this one looks like it's been a while since I put this on here. I think this one's resin. So you just make them with your resin and then you just glue them on. You can glue that as long as you're on a flat surface, or you can heat it a little bit and maneuver it around to bend a little. Real simple project. When you're painting, you want to use as big a brush as you can use to achieve your project, so that the less work you have to do. By the time you get to the top of this thing, the bottom's just about dry. It dries pretty quick on there. I see right now I'm going to have to mix some more paint. Just getting this first coat on here. I turn it around just a little so I can see in all those little holes. Now, since I'll be putting 2 coats on it, mixing it won't matter again because I'll get it so close to color, and that second coat will be, even if it's just a shade different, it won't matter. But it's real hard to mix. Like if you would do this today and then come back tomorrow and try to mix the same color to match, it would be really, really hard to do. So you just have to put a coat all over the whole thing again if you were working on it for 2 days, which would be okay. I like that. See how pretty that color is on there? Okay. Now before I get any further, I'm going to mix me a little bit more paint. So I'm going to put me out a little more of the teal. And put a little more of the black in it. Just add your black gradually. Never start with your dark color when you're mixing paint. You always start with your lightest shade. If you're going to make gray, you would never take black paint and just dump white paint into it and try to make it gray, because you would waste a ton of paint. So you'd always start with the lightest shade. You'd start with your white or whatever your lightest shade is and add your darks to that. Okay. Okay, now we're back to the project. I'm up there to the top, going around underneath that. Got to get it all in that clay in there. when you put the waxes on, that's what changes the whole dynamic of your project. I'm going to be doing some Easter eggs. I done Easter eggs last year with this way, and they were so pretty, so I'm going to be doing some more of them right away too. You could use this in any room. You could use it in your kitchen. Be good for dog treats or just any kind of storage in your kitchen. Cookie jar. I like that color. Okay, now right on down once you get the clay part painted, that's the hardest part to paint. The rest of it just smooths right on there. Go back and make sure I've covered all the little holes in there. Of course, I'm going to have to put another coat on it anyway. See, it's leaning toward the teal, but it's covering real good. Okay. Now I've got the first coat on that. See, I've got my first coat, got one little spot right here to cover. Go up and paint the top in. Move my paint back a little bit over here. You've already seen that. Okay, I'm going to paint this top. Okay, I've got the one coat on that. Now I'm going to set it aside. And get right down in here. I can see that from my camera. Can't see it just looking here, but I can see it through my camera up there. Get those inside pieces a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to push that over to the side, and I'm going to do the top, do the lid. Okay, now I've got the lid. I'm going to do the same thing on the lid as I did on the other. I'm going to paint it all the way around. This is kind of like watching paint dry. You can always fast forward through the videos here, so you can see each step instead of just sitting here watching me paint. I have a couple of Etsy shops. I have one where I sell my finished products called Vintage to Chic. That's my business name. And then I have another one where I do digital designing, and it's vintage to chic designs.etsy.com. So I have two of them. And of course I've got my Vintage to Chic pages on Facebook. Hope you'll follow along with us, and we're just trying to build YouTube and get it up, so the more you help, the better it is. Okay, I've about got that one covered. Okay, got one coat on that one. Now I'm going to have to dry this other one a little bit, so we can go right back in and put another coat on there. So I'm going to set that over to the side, lay my brush down. I am going to still mix a little bit more of the paint, so when I start back to painting, I will have, better to have too much than not enough. So I'd rather mix a little over than to run out and not have enough paint. So I'm going to take a little more black and teal and mix it a little bit. Now this coat's going to go all over, so it won't matter if it's a little bit off difference from the other. You won't even be able to tell that because it'll be so close in color, but I'm going to cover the whole thing again. I don't have to worry so much about getting down in the crooks of those molds as I did before. Okay. Now I'm going to pull out my dryer here, and I'm going to take just a couple of minutes here to dry this a little bit. Turn my dryer on. Okay, now let's go right back on this one again and start right back at the bottom again and put us another coat on there. This time we got to make sure everything's covered. Oh, that's a pretty color. See now the bottom of it, the difference in the top. See the top of it, how spotted it looks, and now that bottom, it's all covered now. So on the piece here, I don't have to work so hard to get down in those holes around that, because that one coat in there is fine with them. But I don't want any white spots to show. I like this. This just might be a piece that stays with me. Now I gotta be real careful and not get my hand in that as I go up. The clay on this one is Jovi, J-O-V-I. I've used a number of different clays, and I found that most of them work about the same. That just happens to be what I'm using at the time. I like it real well. You can choose any molds you want to put on there. If you didn't want to use a mold on it, a design on it, you could leave it plain on the front. Just leave it the same all the way around and paint your colors on there. Color it to match your kitchen or wherever you're going to use it. If you're going to use it in your bathroom, then use your colors on your jar that would match your bathroom decor or whatever room you're planning to use it in. This second coat goes on real fast, real good. Because you're not having to try to cover, you're just cleaning up the streaks and making it all smoothed out. If you ever have any questions, girls, just shoot me a message. Just message me on my Facebook or here on YouTube or wherever you're watching me from. Just send me a message and I'll be glad to answer your questions or help you with anything I can. I've been in the craft business about 50 years. A lot of changes over the years. Oh gosh, I like that. See how pretty that is? That's beautiful. Beautiful color. Some of the new colors for 25, one of them is kind of a teal in a lighter shade, but that would be a beautiful accent piece. Now I'm going to put another coat on the top up here. Then we can set that one aside and let it dry, and then we're going to go back in with our waxes. Let me make sure I've got that covered up under there. Okay, I think I got that one covered. See how pretty that is? Okay. Gosh, that's pretty just like it is. You wouldn't have to do anything else to it if you don't want to. You could just let it dry and put a finish on it and you got that one done. Okay. Now, go back in and put another coat on this piece. Okay, right up on the top. Okay, I'm going to have to hold it up to get the top up here, the little top knot. I like it. I like it. Make sure you got all your little spots covered in your clay. No little white spots are showing. Got it covered. Now, I'm going to use my dryer again. And I'm done with this brush, so I'm going to put this brush in my water bowl. Make sure I got everything covered here good. Put this brush in my thing so I won't have to use it again. And I'm going to go back in and dry it a little. Okay, put that up there in my wash basin. My gums are all getting in the way down here. It's all dry. Okay, I saw one little spot down here where I needed to touch up. Okay, right there it is. So I'm going to get me another smaller brush. Just get a little brush of some kind. And go in there with just a little bit of paint and get that spot. Just a couple little spots where I want to make sure that none of that white's showing. Okay, I believe we got it. Now I'm ready to go to the waxes. I'm going to hit it one more time with my dryer. Now, I'm going to go over here to my waxes to see what I got in my finishes. I like the rubbing buff. I like the gold rubbing buff. I'm going to use some gold on there, and I'm just going to get me out 2 or 3 other colors, pardon me. These are Finnabar. I love these Finnabar waxes. They're all different colors in them. It's called ALCHEMY Art Academy, I think is the way you say that. But I like these too, so this one is a green brocade. I'm going to mix a few colors in them, just lay me out some different ones, and then I'm going to put them on and see how they come up, because you can use any shades on them. It just, till you achieve what you like with them, okay? Now to get in those, in here where that's at, I'm going to use a brush. So I'm going to take me a little bit of the gold rubbing buff. I'm going to use it first. And I'm just going to go over here and smear a little bit down on my palette. Just squirt it out a little bit and smear down so that I don't get into a big piece of it. And I'm going to take me an older brush, one of my brushes that's pretty well wore out, and I'm going to use it to put the waxes on, these things, as soon as I find me one. Okay, let's see what we got here. See, when your brushes get down to they're, no longer good for a good brush, then you can use them for this kind of things. So I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing buff and I'm going to start right up here, and I'm just going to put a little bit on my brush because I'm just going to hit the top of these. See, I'm going to go right in there and just kind of hit around the top of those, the top of that trim. See how much that pops out when I put that trim, put that gold up there? How that just pops that color right out of there. But I'm not putting a big gob of the stuff on my brush, just a little bit. Just a little dab will do you. Work my way all the way around that. Okay. The accent colors is what makes your piece, and you could work on this for hours and hours with lots of different colors and playing with them. Nothing says you have to, use any certain colors. You use what you like and you make it to suit yourself. No two will be alike. Okay, see how pretty that gold is up there in that trim now? How that just makes that trim just pop out there, and you can see what it looks like. Okay, now let's go down to the bottom and do the same thing across the bottom, just on the trim. You could do this with your finger, or you can do it with a brush. When I get in that little spot, I use a brush. I'm going to switch over now and use my finger. But I like to use a little piece of a soft cloth, so I just take t-shirts and cut them up in little squares, in pieces, so that I can use them, just old t-shirts. Put a little bit of that on my brush and then just hit it. You can do it with your fingers, but I like to use a rag. That gold just makes that trim really show up there. It stands up for attention when you put that color on there. Okay, now see the difference that makes in the whole thing? See that? How that just pops that color out at the bottom and at the top? It just sets it right off. The sun's shining in my window, so you're getting the shadows there. Now I'm going to take these, I'm going to use this same gold and just kind of hit and miss on my floor up here. Oh, that just sets it off really pretty. This piece will probably be in my auction. I'm going to have another one in a week, about a week or 10 days. This is, next weekend's Thanksgiving if you're watching the video. So probably the first week of December I'm going to have another auction on my Facebook page, Vintage to Chic. So just come over and follow that page and you will see when we're having an auction, and this piece will be in there. Be a great Christmas present for somebody. Gosh, that's pretty. I may not even put any other colors on it because that gold really sets it off. And you can come back tomorrow after this is set, about 24 hours, and take a clean soft rag and just buff that. Look how pretty that is. Just buff that right up and make it shine. See how pretty it is? Now I'm going to go right into my lid and do my lid the same way. I'm going to go around that edge I put on there, that stuff. Go around it first. Okay. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Get that top edge just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to hit just the edge of the thing a little. Just go right here on the edge of the top piece and go right around that edge a little bit. And I'm going to hit this top knot just a tad on the top. Just going from the top down on the sides of that. And put a little bit of a shade on top of it. See there, just a little bit of color on top of that. Okay, now let's set it on there and see what we got. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to go right around this little edge right here a little. Okay. Oh gosh, that's pretty. See how pretty that is? Beautiful. Now I'm going to take a little bit of another color. I'm just going to fold my rag into a different position here so I'm on a clean part. Let's just flip it around a little bit. And I think I'm going to use a little bit. This is called green brocade, and it's the Finnabar, one of the Finnabar waxes. I get these most of the time. I get these on Etsy. And put out just a little of that. You would never know it's green when it comes out of the tube. It looks an ivory color. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take that lid off first. And I'm just going to put a few streaks like up and down here. The pattern runs up and down, so I'm going to hit it up and down. I don't want to go across. I want it to stay with my design. So I'm just going to hit the highlights in the middle of those pieces and put a little bit of color in there. Just puts a little bit of shine on it. Oh gosh. Sorry about that, girls. I forgot to turn my phone off. Okay. Let me message her and tell her that I'm on it live, because she'll be trying to call me. Okay. Now let's see where it went around there. Put out just a little bit more of that. Life happens, you know. Just when you don't need it. I thought I turned it off, but I guess I didn't. See, that's just showing. That's real hard for you to see on the camera. But that's just putting a little tinge of a color in there. See if you can tell that. See, I've just kind of hit the high spots up on where it's raised. I've just kind of hit those as I went around through there. Okay, I need to go on the front a little bit here and hit a few of these. See, I got that one a little bit strong, but that's okay. Now tomorrow I will buff this really good, and I will go ahead and varnish it. I'll probably put a spray varnish on it in a matte finish. You don't really, when you're using the waxes, you don't really have to varnish it, but this piece will probably be used in a kitchen or whatever, so I will go ahead and varnish it. And I'll use Rust-Oleum's 2-in-1 clear varnish. I may use the satin on this one, not usually I use the satin or the glossy, so I'll decide tomorrow. It's so pretty and shiny, I may even use the shiny on it, but that'll give it a little more protection to be used. Okay. Okay, I think I've got it done. See how pretty that is? And this one, now I'm going to put this on here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that green right around the top here. Just going to go around this time. Put a few little streaks around through there. Just a couple of them, not very much. So it's got just a little touch of that color up in that top. And I'm done with it. I like it, I like it. Okay, we're about 45 minutes in, girls. I hope you like it. Hope you'll come back, join my page, subscribe, and come back and watch some others. I've got some videos already on there, and I'm getting ready to add some more. I'm going to start working on Easter pieces now right away, Easter and spring pieces. So we're going to be doing some eggs and things, so I hope you'll spread it out and come back and follow me. Be sure and shoot me a message if you have any questions. I'll catch you later, ladies. See where we're at down here. Goodbye.